A member of the military has to serve for 20 years to receive a pension. A member of Congress has to serve one term. Do you think that's appropriate? And if not, what do you think would be appropriate?
I do not think it's appropriate. In fact, some of you that I've talked with, I'm actually considering pledging to you that if I am elected to the U.S. Congress, that I will not take the health care and that I will not take any pay increases while I serve you, the American citizen. The fact of the matter is, there again, you're dealing with policies that absolutely do not make sense. There are congressmen and women that are foregoing those benefits already, and I'm not sure that there's any reason why I shouldn't join them. Our lawmakers were meant to be, of course, a citizen. It was meant to be a citizen legislature, where you'd be elected, you'd rotate in, you'd rotate back, right back out, and live under the laws you've created. Obviously, we went astray in that regard, and we simply have to make sure that our lawmakers are receiving the same benefits that you and I will receive. This is an interesting notion when you take a look at the national health care proposals and so on, isn't it? That you and I will be living under all of these new regulations and all of these new benefits and all of these new wonderful policies and programs, but you don't read anything in those bills about how your United States representatives will be living under the same policies and programs. So I agree, it is intolerable that that is the case.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, again, I always got to fall back to my business background, and when a company has to provide health care and retirement benefits and all those things, they have to provide them with the dollars they have available. And what I've said all along is anyone that serves in Congress should have the same type of benefits that we have here as Americans, as workers, and nobody in Congress should have a different health care plan. They should not have a different retirement plan. If it's good for them, it's good for us, and if it's good for us, it's good for them. We go there to serve, and we should be willing to serve under the same statutes, retirement plans, and the same basic analysis that we have to do as the business operators. Again, 77% of our country, 77% of our employment is with small business. Small business is the one who's providing these dollars to Congress. So we have to be able to make sure that the small business person can survive. But Congress has to be able, Congress should be willing, when you go there, to have the same type of benefits you have in the free market system.
Thank you. Doyle?
I agree with both of those, but I'll go one step further. I would say that no congressman should run for any office during the time for which he has been elected to serve in Congress. In other words, he would have to be in for 2 years, and he'd be out for 2 years, and then he could run. But in order for him to run in a district, he would have to spend 3/4 of a year before the filing date physically residing within the district. Scott Olsleger met Tip O'Neill after he retired. He asked him, "Are you going back to Boston now to be with your friends?" Tip O'Neill said, "I don't have any friends in Boston." In 30 years, you have no relationship with the district that you're supposed to be representing. And if you require them to go back at least every time to keep up with what's going on in the district, then we're in position to have real representation.
Thank you. Paul?
I agree with these three good men have said about this issue, and I would agree also to not take any pay hikes when I was down there. I don't know what all the perks are, but I think that a lot of them should be eliminated. But right now, what worries me, there must be things going on down there that none of us are aware of presently, because how on earth did Congressman Rangel get away with making hundreds of thousands or millions on the side? They said he had refrigerators full of money. How on earth did this happen? He should have been run out of the U.S. Congress. And it took Nancy Pelosi 2 weeks or more to finally decide to let him go. And the only reason she did, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi finally let Rangel go and said, "Look, you've got to drop off of your committee that you run," only because she was under pressure from conservative Democrats who said, enough is enough. So obviously there's some really serious problems down there with perks and everything else. We need to start holding these people to higher ethical standards, starting right now with Congressman Rangel. He should be gone within the next month or two. It's insane.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen,